Okay, great.
All right. Welcome to Oh Brother, Not Another Podcast, sponsored by Verso Studios at the Westport Library. And my name is Miggs Burrows.
And I'm Trace Burrows. And if you like the episode, please give us a good review. Today on our show, we have Katie Cassidy, actor, director, producer. She's had dozens of film and television roles. And she's also the daughter of actor and singer David Cassidy and the granddaughter of actor Jack Cassidy and the niece of once teen idol Sean Cassidy. And are you related? This should be Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah,
What?
Hopalong Cassidy?
Hopalong Cassidy?
You even know that name?
No.
Oh, okay. We were kind of kidding, but no, he was a huge, well, we're a lot older. We're in the 50s and 60s. Growing up, he was the biggest cowboy star on TV, Hopalong Cassidy.
Oh, hilarious.
You might be you might go to ancestry.com. You might be in there somewhere in your
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of us. Third generation in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Hi, you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you have a question to go, Miggs? I do if you don't.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So you were in Nightmare on Elm Street, and then after that, I guess because you did that, you got in a lot of these shock films or these like horror,
Scream,
dark, films.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and I guess that's why that happened, right?
Well, I'm guessing that's part of it, but also, I mean, I want to work and I want to work, I like working with good people and I'm both a fan of the genre and not, I just like creating, acting, clearly, directing, producing, all of the things. And yeah, I guess when I first started, that was sort of what I was known for and girls got to make a living,
Sure. Some big guys, actors say they take any job. Big actors.
I don't know if I could say I take any job, but I can tell you that when I was young and almost broke, yes, I was very excited to be given work for sure.
I've watched Taken. I love Liam Neeson and those Taken series and all the other things he does. So it says you were in that. What part did you play?
I was the first to get taken, believe it or not.
What's your name's girl? Friend?
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, really? That's you, like, and her parents.
Amanda. Yeah. She was the first to get taken. Yeah. That was a really fun shoot and a really great movie. And it's too bad they killed my character because, I think, how many were there? 3, 4?
Yeah. I think there's 4.
Oh, there's 3.
I'm really? So I'm curious because I think I heard this in an interview. What was, he gave you tips on how to play dead. So can you help us with that? Because
he did. He's a lovely, lovely human being, by the way. He told me to take 3 deep breaths, like long breaths. And on the third inhale, hold it. Obviously, don't open your eyes. My eyes are open when you find me. So he said, don't open your eyes. I'll give you a signal or something. And then just don't blink. But it was all about calming your breath and then exhaling. He said the last exhale, not the last inhale, the last exhale, let go. And you should be fine. And I was, because I'm still here to talk about it today.
Did you also end up in that tent where they had, made girls be prostitutes and all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was that's where they found me with vomit. It was very attractive. All over myself and dead. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Oh, it was a blast. We shot in Paris. I was having a blast. I was 19 in Paris with my best friend, literally. So it was an incredible experience.
I mean, this is kind of maybe a naive question, but when you're in those horror movies, there's blood and scary stuff. And do you ever have nightmares of your own when you go home? I mean, you're not experiencing the real thing. You're in it, but there's people in gory situations and there's blood splatters everywhere. And
it's not a naive question. And yes, to answer your question, and speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street, I was in the middle of filming that in Chicago while I was shooting Melrose Place here in Los Angeles. And so I was literally not sleeping much, but
Oh,
because I was shooting the movie on the weekends and then I would fly here during the week and then fly there on the weekend. Anyways, it was a bit of a nightmare, but I also was having nightmares. I remember being on a plane and you know, in that state where your body is, you're just exhausted, your body's asleep, but your mind is just has
mm.
been go, 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 go. So it's almost like you're paralyzed. So I was on a plane and that was happening to me. I was asleep. My body was asleep. My brain was on or aware-ish. I was having some kind of dream of Freddy Krueger coming down the
Oh,
plane, like down the aisle.
oh God.
um, and then, you know, I had that I remember having that sensation of wanting to trying to move my limbs or something to just even like hit myself in the face or something just to wake me up because it was really terrifying. So yes, to answer your question, that does happen.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't say it's nice to hear. It's just it's a human experience, whatever. I mean, I don't want to see blood on the walls, even if it's fake blood. But
Oh yeah, no. And by the way, corn syrup,
mm,
that was not fun.
no.
I had to lay in that, and in fact, it dyed my hair pink.
Yeah.
But again, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So they're threatening the actors. It's an actors' strike is possibly going to happen. Is that would
Well,
affect?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we're sitting here. Luckily, this was like the time limit that I can sit here. I mean, 12 was perfect because as of right now, I don't actually have. I don't know at this very moment,
Mm.
but after this, I will be reading up on whether there is officially a strike or not. But it does look that way.
And
Are
what
you in
do you know?
the project now?
Was that
You're shooting?
you shooting anything out where it would be
Oh,
shipping?
right now, no. We had just I just finished shooting a Royal Christmas Crush, um, which is a rom com and this very sweet love story uh, with myself and Stephen Hazar. So no, we had just
Mm.
finished that and actually did a bunch of press because it just came out this last weekend. Which you guys can check it out if you want on the
Yeah,
Hallmark Channel. Um,
please.
so I'm not currently filming, but it sounds like I probably won't be for some time until the studios get it together, you know?
Yeah. Is the issues mainly around artificial intelligence and not having, having a play in that or
Yeah, that is definitely one of the major issues. I think that and residuals. And as an actor, you know, I I studied my whole life, you know, everything, anything I do, and we have to go. I think part of it is too, like a lot of actors, we put ourselves, not all the time, but especially when you're trying to build your career earlier on, you put yourself on tape or you audition and it's a lot of work. And then you become more and more established. So I think that they're trying to figure out a way to those actors who are putting all this effort and time and blood, sweat, and tears
yeah.
into our tapes, that there's some sort of compensation for that. I don't know whether that is going to be a win or not, but you know, for those people building their career, I think that would be, you know, a nice thing. And then AI, yeah, I think overall, AI is so much bigger than just this industry,
Hmm.
and you know, obviously the writers and the actors, and it eventually, if we don't, you know, regulate it I feel like can become so much smarter than
Yeah.
humans in general, and could eventually lead to our
Basically,
extinction.
I mean, it's not so unbelievable in sci-fi, but there could be robots that perfect their skin. You know, they already have silicone they can use to make those big dolls, and you know, and they'll live forever, and they'll find out that humans are too soft and fragile and costly to keep, and the robots will kill us off. And
Right.
well, just like a movie, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
fault of the robot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the
I
guy
know
who
it's wild. It's just something that really needs to get some handle it on itself almost because it's just the longer it goes on, the smarter it gets.
We
absolutely,
Uh,
yeah, it learns from everything constantly. I mean,
yeah.
know,
I think his name is Professor Hinton resigned from Google so he could warn people because he was involved in helping Google, propagate artificial intelligence, and he resigned so he could sort of warn the public where it's
Who
going.
was this?
I think his name is Dr. Hinton.
I want to look this up. Not this second, but after.
Makes
Yeah,
it
all right.
man named Mark Yurku, and I talked to him like 6 months ago about this whole business. He's a physicist and a creative person, and he says I've already seen pictures of this. He digs into real
Yeah.
like
He's already seen what?
photos of human
Of-
people that look like us that
Oh,
are
replicants, like kind of replicant people.
yeah.
Well, how about the deep fakes? Have you seen, you must have seen the Tom Cruise deep fakes. You've seen any of those?
No.
Well, you're next. No, no, the technology is they would photograph, first of all, it has to be done. Well, it doesn't have to be done with your permission, but they need a lot of pictures of you from every angle. And I think ideally that you would come into a studio and you would speak some lines. So they got your mouth movement for every vowel and syllable that could be used. And then well, just like the new Indiana Jones movie where they de-aged Harrison Ford, that's all artificial intelligence. I mean, the real Harrison Ford, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they kind of do a flashback, but it's not the old movies. It's him now, and they de-aged his face. And so
Isn't that what they did with Benjamin Button too?
yeah,
Like that?
yeah. It was a more primitive method, exactly. Yeah, Benjamin Button.
Smith did a whole movie where he had a younger version.
But yeah, I mean,
But the fear is entire movies could be, I mean, you could your artificial intelligent fake could star in a movie and maybe
and I could be sitting on the couch tacos.
sitting in Tahiti. I mean, you wouldn't get the full salary. Anyway, that's maybe
It's a crazy idea. It's a crazy world, but it also makes me, I did a video game more recently where I starred in it. And actually the process of filming the video game is very similar to what you just described. You have a zillion million cameras circle around you that are taking images, and then you have to move your mouth in front of a thing. They watch you talk, they record your voice, and then voila, there I am in a cop uniform in a video game. And it's crazy. This is what I'm saying. It's not, and it does need to have some sort of like regulation on top of it, because at the end of the day, like this is what we do for a living. I'm a creator. This is my purpose, is to tell story in any way, shape, or form I can, and hopefully in a way that brings people together and does better for the universe that we live in. And we can't be robbed of that.
no.
It's not right.
The humans, two greatest assets is to do the best they can and the worst they can. I mean, like the internet, it's used for good and people find a way to use it for bad. And but you should Google Tom Cruise deep fakes. And they fooled a lot of people because he was doing all these like public service announcements and acting weird and funny. It looked just like him, but they implanted his face on an actor's body, but not in a cutout way. It's just
what's it called? Tom Cruise?
deep fakes, FAKES, deep fakes. Or just
Okay.
Google deep fakes.
Obama talking, I always figured that someone evil, because there's so many evil, greedy, crazy people, that they could make one of the president saying, and send it to North Korea saying, we're declaring war on you,
It's crazy, right? What is happening in the world? I can't keep up. It's a lot.
No, I just got to focus
Mm-hmm.
what's ahead.
Right? It's like putting on blinders.
So speaking of good, you have a charity, don't you, that you're involved in?
Yes, it's a nonprofit, Help Malawi. Helpchildren.org is the website. Basically, I actually went there for 2 weeks time at the school with these children who all.
Well, that's what they said. Yes. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
MSNBC anchor has a charity for desks for girls, all students. He mentions Malawi all the time.
Oh yeah, this is out of school out in Natumba, and it's like 1,000 kids who basically from kindergarten through 8th grade are all HIV positive, and so I designed a necklace, and 100% of the proceeds goes to the school. And HELP it stands for Hope, Educate, Love, and Protect, and just basically trying to provide these children with as much education and give them the tools, the resources, because they really have nothing over there. And so I went over there and I taught them how they could, recycle water over the plants. I planted a garden, which is now, this was years ago, but I've seen pictures and it's huge. It's still like thriving, which makes me so happy. Um, a daycare and a hospital and a library. So I've been able to raise enough money for actually, building these structures for them, and really trying to give them anything and everything possible so that they survive. I mean, it's really crazy. Once I came back, realizing like how important just like water over there is a delicacy. It's like
yeah.
you can't, the things that we don't think about that we have resources to. It's not until you go to a third world country or, someplace where uh, the situation is so bad. It's just like it was heartbreaking, but also it makes you feel good, obviously, to give back in any way I can. So I hopefully will be going back there soon. I've been talking to Jillian, who's the CEO and founder, and she's, after the pandemic and everything, she's just about to start kicking it back up. So hopefully I'll be in Malawi again soon.
So you've done producing and directing. What kind of films have you done?
So I went through the Warner Brothers Directors Program in 2019. It's a 3-month program, which was incredible. And then I directed my first episode of Arrow, the television show I was on for 8 seasons. I directed the 3rd episode of the 8th season called Leap of Faith. And it was our final season. And I just realized, I mean, my whole world opened up when I realized. I was like, wait a second. So you're telling me you're going to give me a sandbox to play in and I actually get to just build the castle? Like I can, as long as I stay within the lines of obviously with any show, you want to stay within the aesthetic of the show. But I was like, this is I think, I mean, not necessarily true calling because acting, which I love and forever will do, is as well. But I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I love it so much. I directed that episode and then the show ended and then the pandemic hit. But during lockdown, I wrote and shot a short called America's Next Best President, which is a spoof on American politics around especially the 2020 election, but I plan on releasing it around 2024 election.
I can't see it yet. All right.
No, you can't see it yet, but it is pretty funny. You got to make fun of yourself or your country sometimes because we had a reality star as a president. Let's not let that happen again, America. Thanks so much.
It is. So do you feel, I mean, I always think deep down, for every actor, there's a role you feel you were born to play. Do you have anything like that, dream role that someday I'm going to play whatever, whoever?
I mean, yes, I feel as though part of that has happened, but not yet. I think that, Arrow was, I guess, that character in that role was fantastic. And they really wrote for me on that show. And I really sunk my teeth into that character. I think that, would be a character thus far that I can say, I chose one that was like, okay, this is the one. I guess it would be that or The Scribbler, this movie that I shot about a woman who has dissociative identity disorder. And she's sort of in a halfway house and she starts hallucinating. You don't know it's real. It's not. It's a really cool, interesting little indie that I did. But I actually sat down. I did the research and sat down with this woman who had dissociative identity disorder. And I actually watched her. It was me, my therapist, and her. And my therapist, she was my therapist's client. And so my therapist kind of mediated the situation because I wanted to find out like anything, but also that causes triggers in someone who has dissociative identity disorder. So I watched her transition like 7 times in the middle of my doing the research. It was I'm so appreciative of her, but I wanted to just do the best that I could to, portray somebody who struggles with that.
Is that what we know as multiple personalities, or is it something different?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So can someone with that be cured? Come back as one?
There's no I don't believe so at this point, but I think the only thing, and circling back to what we were talking about before with AI, the only thing I feel like artificial intelligence could really be beneficial for in our existence is in medical field. So perhaps, you know, Chat GPT could tell us what
Yeah.
the cure is for a lot of things. And but aside from that, again, I don't think there's much room for AI, at least in the way that the studios think there will be.
Yeah. Well, they hope not to have to pay the actors. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not how the world works. You got to pay the people. You
Yeah.
don't pay the robots.
Right.
I mean,
No, you have to be compensated. Them using your likeness.
If
Everything.
it's,
mhm.
if it's not being too nosy, would you want to identify or the significance of some of the ink you got going on your?
Sure. I got this tattoo that says warrior. You gotta,
Mhm.
I've had an interesting life, but I have a lot of gratitude for it.
Mhm.
Been through a lot. This is just a tattoo that I got with my manager. This is three birds, which has to do with arrow, birds of prey, because I played Black Canary. Um, this says, I got you, we got each other, friends,
Oh, nice.
with a few friends of mine. I mean, every tattoo I have is meaningful and different significance, but, and this is the Umlong, which it has to do with sort of like this, your life, like what your life is like until.
You get to the right. Yeah. A lot of detours.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. But yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I don't know if this is too personal, but you were quoted, I think, as saying your dad's last words were so much wasted time. Is that true? Is that an accurate
Mhm.
thing?
Yep.
How did you interpret that related to his life?
Well, I think personally, there's sort of like two things that meant, if that makes sense to me. I think it meant between he and I, we didn't have much of a relationship until I was older. But then, and I didn't meet him actually until I was in fourth grade. And then after that, he became a dear, dear, like best friend. I used to talk to him on the phone like every night. I remember my first apartment for like 2 hours, and we were really close. And then he has his demons and drugs and alcohol, and eventually you have to at some point take care of yourself when around certain individuals who struggle with that. So I think when he was saying that so much, like I think it had a lot to do with how our relationship and how much
Mm.
sorry, don't mean to get emotional. I think him saying that had a lot to do with that, but also I think he realized he, was on his deathbed and he could have been sober and could have,
Yeah.
had he kind of just settled down and I think he was just going, 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 and didn't take a second and didn't. And so to me, that's what I feel as though it sort of symbolized. And I think it just made me have gratitude and
Mm.
appreciation for every moment that we're here on this earth. So
I mean, did you interpret it as so much wasted time that he could have been spending more time with you instead of wasting it?
right, exactly. I think that was part of it. Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. We could have had a closer, well, or longer relationship. But he was such an incredible man and hilarious and smart. And so I try to, hold on to, and that's who he genuinely was, in a huge heart. Um, and so those are that's the part of him that I try to hold on to for sure.
Are you planning to? I think I heard that you might want to direct a movie about a biopic on your dad's life.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I mean, I would love to do that. I mentioned something to my uncle, Sean, about it. And he was like, "Oh, your dad wasn't famous enough for a biopic."
Oh, what? He's like the most
I don't
famous
know if he
person.
actually said those words, but or if it was just like the undertone, something along the lines. And so I was just like,
Where, what planet was he living on? I mean, come on,
It
he's the
could
most
be a
famous
television
person.
movie if they don't think should be a big feature theatrical release. Anyhow, I don't know.
Or you were thinking more of a documentary style, like Ken Burns with pictures and reminiscences, a theatrical, with actors, playing the part.
I mean, if anything, I would want to make it a biopic, a
Yeah.
feature. But yeah, it's funny because I write a lot. And even my mother's story, I've actually been thinking and sort of developing alongside her ish, but pondering.
Mm.
I did say to her, I was like, Mom, what better, how cool would it be if I wrote your story, played you,
Oh,
and directed it?
oh, great.
How cool would that be?
Yeah,
So that is something that I've been working on. Obviously, writing a feature takes an enormous amount of time and research and all of the things. Um, but yeah, when I have the free time, again, it looks like I probably will, considering
right. Yeah.
strike, get to focus and focus myself on the stuff that I have in development. And it's so frustrating. Literally was about to take a pitch out for the show that I had been working on for the last like 6 months. And then the writer's strike hit like the day before.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, it's okay. Everyone deserves what's right. And I totally agree. Again, it's the AI thing they're standing up for. They need to be paid. They're people too. And this is their job. We hire humans, not robots.
Right. And now, robots want the parts they're
We're
after.
just gonna have to look at reruns. I remember there was last one was kind of got really to be tedious for people who watch television. Like not seeing new stuff. I guess all the talk shows aren't on anymore. I mean, I know uh, Bill Maher's show hasn't been on for like 3 or 4 months because of the writers'
Oh,
strike.
Yeah, a lot of things have stopped. So
so your mom was Sherry Williams, is Sherry, Sherry Williams. Could you give us a little breakdown of the Cassidy family tree? There's a lot of Cassidys out there, including, Hopalong
yeah.
Cassidy, who apparently is not related, but
So I have three dads, which is a very complicated story. David being my biological father, my father, and my mother, she was a model. I have two half sisters on my mom's side that I grew up with. So she had Jamie and Jenna, my two older sisters, with their father, who she was married to, Dean. And then they got divorced. She had me with my father. And then she married Richard, who she's currently married to and is my stepdad, and he helped raise me along with my sister's dad. So I like to say it's like, okay, I have three dads that all probably come together and make up one, and probably the perfect dad. It takes three guys to but yeah, I've had a pretty hectic, because I have a half younger brother on my dad's side, and the Cassidy family is huge. Obviously, as we've mentioned, I'm third generation, working in Hollywood. Jack Cassidy being my grandfather.
great, yeah.
Who he played the first Superman on Broadway.
Oh, really? Did a Broadway?
Yeah, I think he won a Tony.
I mean, he was like the best looking man when he arrived on the scene. It was like nobody could believe that somebody was that good looking. I mean, he just, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been really awesome to have gotten to meet him, but
yeah. Actually, you should pitch it. There was a show called My Three Sons. My Three Dads would be an interesting.
Yeah.
Thing.
I love that you just said that because My Three Dads is in development.
Is it really?
Three dads.
Oh, okay.
Correct. So smart man.
And you're attached to that project, I assume?
Well, this is my life story.
Yeah,
so,
right. Okay. Right.
This is the one that would be,
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Title. I do
Yeah,
myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Trace, any parting?
No, I don't, unless you want to say something that we didn't ask you,
Does you want to get out there or tell your...
Be on the lookout for a Royal Christmas Crush. on the Hallmark Channel. But also, I have a thriller that will be coming out at the end of the year called Bunker that I'm starring in alongside Kate Bosworth, Tyrese Gibson, and Devon Sawa. It's a suspense thriller. It's intense, but really good. So be on the lookout for that.
Good.
I will.
And America's Next Best President next year.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Wish I could see it now. Yeah. Oh. Well, thanks so much, Katie. It's very generous of you to spend the time. And
of course. Absolutely. Thank you guys. And hopefully the next time we talk, it's still you guys and you haven't been replaced by robots.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome. Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great day.